principal here at Shoemaker Elementary School, and consider myself very lucky to be involved in this process, obviously. So it's new for me, but a good learning experience. I can involved in that, all right. And kids are excited, and so is our staff. So we got started a little earlier than what the original timeline called for, which was a good thing, but I had to communicate that to parents and staff and families and make some adjustments to how our daily operations work. A couple of the exits are now blocked off. They were fire escape routes used for going outside for recess, so we had to rework those and practice a new fire drill route exit for several classrooms. So that was good. And then there's fencing around the construction zone, so we really had to focus on the safety aspect with our kids and staff and the supervision that's required. So we added a couple supervision pieces, staff on each side of the construction zones at dismissal time, and it actually closed down one of the walking path trails that some of the students used to walk home into the neighborhood. So we had to work with parents and help students identify a new path, either around the block to the east, or maybe around our field area, around that fenced area, so they could get home safely. So that was the number one thing, just making sure kids were safe, understood where to go, communicated that with parents, problem solved and so forth, and added some supervision. And then of course during the day with recess, making sure staff are in that area, making sure kids aren't around the fencing and kicking balls in there, and just being safe. But luckily we have a really big field playground area, so it really doesn't impact our ability for kids to be playing and doing the thing they do during the day. But yeah, it's been really exciting. I think our theme next year is going to be construction, so imagine that. But we've talked to the kids about we'll have different construction workers in the building. There'll be hard hats on, identification tags, so they know that they're safe. That was a point of emphasis that we made, and really it's gone very well. And we just know that it's going to be a process, because there'll be construction going on the north side, and then eventually construction going on here while we're still in the school building. And so it'll be interesting. We'll have to make some changes as far as probably where we come in, our entrance points within the school, and then eventually once they start remodeling and renovating this area, the open concept area, we have some modular units, some classrooms out there. So we'll just continue to work with staff and communicate to our students and our parents about the changes. So we plan to do that as much as possible. And then also, we just want to protect the instructional time and just make sure everything's organized and we're sensitive to that learning environment, and that instructional time is not lost, interfered with, or as little as possible. We know that some of that will take place, but we want to do as much as we can to limit those interruptions and make sure that focuses on their learning. It's good that they have blinds that can be closed in those north windows, so they've been closed during construction. Do you guys have any questions for me?
What's the most important part of this addition to you as a principal?
The most important part to me, I mean, you can go in a couple different ways, but for me it's the instruction. I mean, I get to see on a daily basis our open concept classrooms, the noise levels, the amount of traffic in the hallways, and the distractibility it causes. So I do think instruction is the number one thing. It'll improve overall instruction, the teacher's ability to use technology in different ways, and like I said, just that learning environment will be protected. But then secondly, a very close second right there with it is the safety factor, of course. Being able to lock down and close those doors is huge. That's always been something in the back of our minds, and we have good plans in place to keep kids safe, in the event of some type of emergency. So I know our kids are safe, but it definitely enhances the ability to keep them safe on a daily basis. So those couple things right there, and then just the overall space. We'll have some additional intervention rooms, and just to be able to have a cafeteria where they're not in the gym, for lunch, because that really makes it hard for scheduling our physical education programming. And when we have inside recesses, we can't use our gym because the kids are eating lunch. It'll just really open up a lot of opportunities instructionally, and just the overall organization flow and feel of our building will be greatly enhanced due to this. So we're very grateful for the community and passing this motivation.
How do you go about communicating with the parents and the students? You said you have to get messages out to them about how to stay safe, or when you had the walking path closed down. How do you go about getting that news out to parents and, more importantly, to the students?
multiple avenues, put it that way, especially with parents, but luckily we're a school that all the students meet in the gym every morning, so we have a morning assembly. I do announcements every single day. So the minute we knew that this was coming, worked with staff, got some feedback, and then we of course talked to the students in the morning right away about things we need to do to be safe and be thinking of, and then also the teachers would reiterate that. And so with students, you can constantly communicate that with them, intercom system, and just being out there and visible, adding the supervision, giving reminders as far as safety, routes home, and so forth. With the parents, luckily we have an automated phone messaging system, so I was able to put out a phone messaging system to kind of share the details about what was going to be taking place, arrangements as far as picking up and dropping off with their children in the morning, especially those families that walk to the north and east out into the neighborhood area. So use that, and then with that automated messaging system, we have an email. You can send email. We have a system called Remind 101 that our integration specialist utilizes, and parents have signed up to that, where she can send text messages and reminders. We have newsletters, and then PTO, obviously, and then word of mouth. Teachers explaining and talking with parents when they have concerns, and collaborating with me as needed so we can make plans to ensure safety and flow of traffic and all those different aspects, because there are quite a few when you think about it. You can't think of everything when something like this starts, but you sure try on behalf of our students and our families.
What kind of reactions have you got from some of the students?
Oh, they're pumped, to see the big machines out there moving dirt. They're pretty excited. They know how much of a benefit it will be to our school, and they're excited, and the teachers' excitement, carries over to them, and I do believe our parents are really excited. And everyone understands it'll be a process, but when you think long term, what's best for kids, that's it. So they're really excited, and I mentioned a theme earlier, so we'll do some fun slogans and different activities, and really we want to make sure the students are involved in the process and are very aware of the changes, what's taking place. I've talked with our integration specialist about before and after pictures, and having students involved in maybe some of those projects, creating timelines, sharing with the community, or our Shoemaker community, that is. So different ways to get students involved is important too.